Today I'm in a county famed for some of the biggest working beasts in Britain. Where am I? Find out in just a moment.
In today's show, I'll be helping a horse-loving couple break free from their city ties and canter off to the country to fulfil their business ambitions.
This is my dream.
And maybe they've bitten off more than they can chew with our mystery house.
Oh, I'm a bit speechless.
Welcome to Suffolk, and these three burly beasts stand guard to the busy entrance of Trinity Park, home to the famous Suffolk show, celebrating everything that's great about this agricultural county. And these three chaps are icons of that farming heritage. You've got the Suffolk sheep, the red poll bull, yes, he's a bull, and the famous Suffolk Punch Shire horse. But this county's not just about farming. Take a look at what else it's famous for. Just to give you a rough ballpark idea of prices in Suffolk, the average price for a detached house was £245,000 back at the beginning of 2011. Now that's £10,000 less than the average for England and Wales, but there are some super expensive hotspots in this county. If you look along the heritage coast from Lowestoft in the north all the way down to Felixstowe, £1.5, £2 million for a property, but in between there's lots on offer, so take a look.
For £295,000, you could buy this 5-bedroom, Grade 2 listed property situated in Eye. Its modern kitchen maintains a period feel, with exposed beams supporting the ceiling. There's also a charming, secluded courtyard. Or there's this 4-bedroom Suffolk Pink farmhouse in Wiverston, priced at £600,000. The main reception room has a feature fireplace to keep you warm, and outside there's a handsome traditional hay store and stables. It's all set in around 2 acres of grounds. For a bigger budget of £895,000, this stunning 4-bedroom barn conversion in Tostock might well suit. The rustic stonework and high ceilings are offset by the stylish fittings, which give it a palatial feel. And the walled garden outside is a real highlight.
A fine selection of Suffolk lovelies there, but what kind of property are our house buyers today looking for? Well, why don't you meet them and find out.
This is Anne, who recently retired from her job as a communications manager, and Alan, a builder. They currently live in Shenfield, Essex, in a 4-bedroom property which Alan has completely renovated over the years. However, the time has come for them to fulfil an ambition they've shared for a long time.
We've always wanted to live in the country, and even as a small child I spent a lot of time with my grandparents' place. They had a small holding and I was always with the chickens and the pigs, but I'd never had a horse, so I always wanted one. Used to go and feed them on the common. Alan's always wanted to move to the countryside, haven't you?
Always loved the countryside, yeah. Just one of those things, I suppose, to reach a dream that I've never got to as yet.
Anne owns a horse which she keeps at a livery yard some 15 minutes from their home. With this move, she's keen to turn her passion for horses into a rural business opportunity.
This is Archie. He originally comes from Suffolk, and it would be really nice if we could take him back to Suffolk, where we want to run holiday lets where people can bring their own horses to ride.
What's more, Alan wants space for a vegetable plot and to grow hops. They've been scouring the Suffolk property market for the past 18 months. However, so far their house searching efforts have come up short. Then again, there's a lot to factor in.
Would want something of character.
3 to 4 bedrooms, a nice open living area, probably a study. And I've always wanted to have a farmhouse type kitchen where you can sit around, particularly in the winter days. Outside, we'd like 3 to 4 acres minimum, either with stabling already in place or opportunity for Alan to build stables there.
Yes.
And also an opportunity to have a holiday let.
With their house currently on the market for £725,000, they've nailed down the finances for their move.
Our maximum budget is £700,000.
Alan and Anne have got a healthy budget for Suffolk, but stables, holiday let and space for growing hops? they're all great aspirations, but they do require quite a lot of land. Plus, we want to keep Alan's commute down to about an hour and a half so he can keep in contact with his customer base in Essex. So, no point hanging around, let's start looking. Alan and Anne are keen to search in the outlying villages around Bury St Edmunds, so we'll use that as our starting point. But with their request for land, we may have to look further afield. We've got 3 fantastic properties to show them, but as always, I won't be revealing the price until they've had a guess first. The last of these properties is our mystery house, which will force them to take off the blinkers and give them a new perspective. Welcome to Suffolk.
Thank you.
It's not a million miles away from where you live now.
No, it's only about an hour and 20 minutes drive.
Now, the business plan is really interesting, so tell me a bit about that.
I spend a lot of time with my horse and with our riding club, but I also thought we could merge the two and have a holiday let business where I could invite people to bring their horses and their dogs whilst holidaying with us.
That's a brilliant idea. It's like a horse B&B.
That's right, yes.
Because we've got a very good builder
Yes.
on site. If we could find something a bit lower, then there'd be the potential maybe to do some work.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Any sort of form of renovation or outbuildings and such that can be changed from whatever they are now to whatever the requirements are for Anne's horses, then...
You can find a man to do it.
Yes, definitely.
Well, let's go and see some properties. There are beautiful properties to see, and I know that you've got a specific brief, but I think we found some nice ones.
Oh, thank you very much.
Come with me. With their £700,000 budget, Alan and Anne want a character property which gives them a large reception room for entertaining, a farmhouse-style kitchen diner, and at least 3 bedrooms. And critically, Anne is after a minimum of 3 acres of land for horses, which might also give them scope to establish a holiday let business. We're getting our house search underway in the quiet village of Baddingham, with a scattering of properties set amongst its country lanes. Although there's no local shop here, the market town of Framlingham is just under 4 miles away. Its historic centre is earmarked as a conservation area, and it's a hub for amenities. Just a stone's throw from Baddingham's parish church is our first property, which comes in the form of a converted barn and might well provide enough space for entertaining. Ooh.
Oh! This is very different.
Yeah.
It was converted in the 80s, done to a very high spec. You know, it does have period bones.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, I like it.
I do like the church.
Beautiful, isn't it?
There.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Should we have a peek inside?
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, yes. Step on in.
Oh, this is really nice.
Do you like?
I do.
That's great.
There's another sort of area around there which they sometimes use for kind of big parties. It's a sort of another...
Oh, sounds like my kind of place.
No, you like a party,
I
don't
do.
you? Good. Well, the kitchen is the heart of the home, so let's go there. Come on in.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I like the use of the beamwork and sort of the more contemporary kitchen units. It
Yeah,
works
very
well.
cottagey. Yes.
I suppose the important thing is whether you like the feel of it.
Well, so
I
far,
certainly like
so
the
good.
feel of it, yeah.
A very comfortable feel, definitely.
Some people expect barns to just be huge cavernous spaces.
That's it.
This is a bit more higgledy-piggledy.
Yes, and which I like.
Well, talking
I
of
really
that,
do.
let's higgledy-piggledy through here. And here we've got the main living room.
This is very comfortable.
Yeah, it is.
It gives you that feel of being cosy, particularly sort of in the winter nights. But you've also got a nice lot of light coming through.
Well, they added this sunroom, which you can explore a bit later on, all along the sort of side here, so that brings in lots of light.
Yeah, it does.
Fits your exacting building standards?
Oh,
Is it well done?
yes, yeah.
The exposed timbers are a running theme throughout. Back on the other side of the hallway, nestling behind the main staircase, there's a dining room and a useful study. But we'll head up the second staircase and explore the 4 bedrooms, starting with their room. So mind your heads, starting to get into beam territory. This is the master bedroom.
This is very different, isn't it?
Aye, it is.
So you're up in the eaves.
Yeah.
Yes. Lovely view.
Yeah, view of the church.
And then an ensuite, of course.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's very different. Gives us a little bit more style than what you normally get in a house, which is just square.
box.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of period style in the 2 bedrooms opposite. One a nice-sized single, and next door a larger bedroom with a built-in wardrobe. But it's time to check our bearings.
It's a little complicated, the layout, because here we are back at the original hallway.
The landing is large enough to house a study and sitting area, which leads onto the 4th bedroom at the far end of the property, complete with its own spacious ensuite. This barn would be a large, comfortable home for Alan and Anne, but now we need to tackle their demands for the outside.
We have some things that you want, but not everything.
Okay.
Primarily, we don't have a holiday let, but as you can see, we do have these outbuildings.
Yes.
Possibly turning this into some sort of conversion.
Oh, I would think that that would be quite easy.
Oh, thank goodness you said that. I thought you were going to go, absolutely no. What's nice is you have a separate entrance as
Yeah.
well, because you've got a side drive with a
Yeah.
5-bar gate. And so your guests could come here and you could sort of portion off the garden.
So a provisional tick for the holiday let idea, subject to the right planning. I'm hoping they like the lay of the land too.
OK, so we've got 3 acres
Ooh.
in total.
Yes.
Essentially 3 paddocks. At the moment they've got sheep, they're not horsey people. So they don't have stabling.
Right.
So this would also have to be an investment. Is this going to be enough land for you?
Possibly. I'd have to go and walk it.
So what do you think this is on the market for?
That may be well wrong, 625, 635.
Right. What about you?
I'm probably go a little bit more than that and say anything between 645 and 650.
Well, you're both just out. It's actually a bit more expensive even than that. It's on at 665.
Right.
Why don't you
Yeah.
go and explore?
Okay.
Find the sheep.
Right.
Very interesting, because it's a beautiful house, and I think they really love the house. I'll be intrigued to know whether Anne's horsey the eye finds failing with the paddocks. Guys? Ah, there you are. You see. Come on, I'm going to drag you away on to another property.
Okay.
Suffolk may reside in one of England's quieter corners, but its tourist industry, worth £1.75 billion, adds a real boost to the local economy. It's no wonder that Alan and Anne want to reap some of those proceeds by running a holiday-let business. A key destination is the coastal town of Aldborough, which, along with its blue flag beach, has a rich heritage stretching back to the 16th century. In its Tudor heyday, it was renowned as a shipbuilding port, although it's the annual arts festival that has put this town on the international map. The artistic leanings continue in the local church, which is the final resting place of the distinguished composer Benjamin Britten. As they have no experience of running a holiday-let business, earlier in the week we arranged for Alan and Anne to meet Naomi Tarry. Naomi runs her own holiday-let company and is willing to share her knowledge of the local industry and provide tips on how Alan and Anne might make the best use of any outbuildings in their new venture. The first building Naomi is showing them is this Victorian Grade 2 listed barn, which she converted back in 2006.
Welcome to the workshop. Come on in.
Oh, yes, yes. Excellent. Oh.
Is it a bit different to what you were
Ah,
expecting?
it certainly
very much
is.
so. Very modern,
Yeah.
modern style.
Well, for us, what we find is our guests are looking for something a little bit special. a bit of a wow factor,
Yes.
something that's going to make them want to come away. It has to be at least as good as what they've got at home.
Yes.
So we really went to town with all the little finishing touches, like the fantastic fireplace there.
Yes, it's very different.
Which a lot of people just rent it just because they love the fire. And I do believe that if we'd have spent less on these finishing touches, then this property would be nowhere near as booked out as it is.
It does take a breath
Absolutely.
away.
And that's an important part. We really thought very carefully when we designed this place. We worked very closely with the planners, and that's really important if you buy a property that's a Grade 2 listed property. Perhaps you need listed building consent to do work. Is to work with them, see what you can do. And it was important to them and us that the front of the property looked exactly like an old chicken shed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But all the fun, the entrance, the pizzazz happens round the back that no one else can see, and gives us those fabulous views across the meadow.
As well as engaging the planners early, our buyers would need to speak to a holiday let agency to find out as much as possible about the local market. But as Naomi's here, they have a ready-made font of knowledge.
We're looking to not only graze our own horses, but also to offer for holiday letters the opportunity to bring their own horse so that they can ride around the Suffolk countryside. Do you think that would be a good feature?
I think it's a very interesting idea. I don't know anyone who does it around this area, so you'd certainly be introducing something new to the area. It may be a bit of a niche market, quite small, so all I'd say was to think about what the wider market might want as well.
Naomi's high-spec holiday let attracts repeat bookings throughout the year from Londoners eager for a rural weekend bolt hole. She's happy to offer up a research strategy that worked for her.
Think about what kind of customer you're trying to attract, stay in some other places that they're likely to stay in, and find out what you like and don't like, and then bring what you've learnt back into your own holiday cottage.
Oh, that's really good advice.
Hopefully we can unearth a rural retreat where they can put all their new business knowledge into practice as we continue our house search in the village of Polstead, near the Suffolk-Essex border. Many of its traditional properties, some of which are colour-washed, skirt the perimeter of the lovely village pond. Along with a post office and a renowned pub, its Grade 1 listed church dates back to the 14th century. On the outskirts of Polstead is our second property, which, if they don't mind the water tower nearby, will give Alan and Anne a home with character and land.
Well, I'm very excited about showing you this property because I think this one could be giving you everything you want.
Right.
What do you feel about the whole thatched cottage experience?
Well, I really like a thatched cottage, and I know Alan always wanted beams and a thatched roof, didn't you?
That's always been the way, yes. Obviously, that's a fairly old property. Thatch has recently been done.
Last 4 months?
Last 4 months, yeah.
So you've got another 60 years of use out of that.
Yeah.
Let's go and look at the main house.
Well, our charming cottage has created a good first impression. Thought to date back to the 15th century and Grade 2 listed, its interior has been sympathetically restored.
Come on in.
Thank you.
It's a box of surprises, this house.
Oh, yes, it certainly is.
Are you expecting this?
No, not at all.
You've got a big boot room, wash room through there, sort of utility room. It's all modern fixtures and fittings, brand new range.
Yeah, it works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And nice view.
Aha, you've spotted the horses already, yes.
Yes.
Well, this is the kitchen. We go across the hall into the living room. Mind your head, there is a bit of a low beam.
I think I'm all right.
You're all right. Alan, you're all right too.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's very cosy.
It
Nice
is.
fireplace there.
See, there's a bread oven there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And they put in this brand new, rather swanky log burner. So the compromise with this property is that it's not huge. The other house was bigger.
Yes.
It's an old cottage. Behind you
Oh.
are the stairs, which take us to your bedrooms.
There are 2 bedrooms, both of which are doubles, and take wonky to a new level.
Mind your head,
Yeah.
mind your balance. You've got the original slopey cottage floors here. So this is as far away from a modern house as you can get.
Certainly is.
If you look out at that landing, you've got a... How do you feel about all these wonky lines?
Don't mind the wonky lines at all.
It's different and it's nice, different.
Should we explore?
Yes, please.
Both bedrooms can make use of the small family bathroom up here. And back downstairs, leading off the rear hallway, is an extra room which could serve as a study or third bedroom. But the next room is the real eye-opener.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
expect
very
this. Didn't expect this at all.
No, that is very, very good.
Oh, I'm a bit speechless. Which is strange for me.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, good thing.
That's good, yeah.
Yes. It did take my breath away because I just was not expecting to come into something like this.
Yeah. It's a real showstopper, isn't it?
It is.
And you step out into a really lovely sort of terraced area.
Yeah.
So you can sit out there in the sunshine.
Yeah, you've got the outdoors coming in.
Yeah.
Something that I really like.
Well, the tour of the main property has ended on a high, which I hope we can build on outside. There's a separate outbuilding which, with some vision from Alan and the appropriate planning consent, could give them the holiday let they asked for.
So this is my great offering for this property. They were using this as a farm shop for a while, so it has all the kind of water, electricity, heating. So would this work? 'Cause obviously there is a premium on space inside the house, but if you could turn this into a nice big holiday let.
Yeah. Possibility.
Possibility.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Good. Well,
Okay.
sort of hesitantly ticking boxes. And the final one is with your horses.
There's plenty of ready-made accommodation for horses in the stable block, complete with 4 stables and an adjoining storeroom. But it doesn't end there.
So do the stable blocks look up to scratch?
They certainly do.
We've got another sort of 2 emergency stables here, sort of like a big outhouse there.
Okay.
It's also ripe for development. And what's this?
Oh, this is my dream. It's a menage.
But it's a beautiful one. It's very well equipped, got lights. And basically your paddocks stretch right up to the railings, so all around as far as you can see. And it's 5.5 acres. And there's a possibility of it renting another 2.25 acres, which they could rent for £500 a year.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think all that is on the market for?
I would say it's on the market for £700,000.
I'll go 625.
625.
Yeah.
OK, so it's on the market for 689.
Right.
Because you've got a lot of land.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes, I appreciate that.
Why don't you have a wander around? Because it's a lot to take in.
It certainly is.
Explore all the facilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'll meet you at the front.
Okay,
Right.
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Under budget at £689,000, this listed property answers all the main elements on their wish list. Firstly, we've delivered an authentic character cottage with a superb extension which took Anne's breath away. Then there's the outbuilding which gives them the potential for their holiday let. And the equestrian facilities are spot on for the livery business.
The house, again, I think is very nice. Right, the main concerns are that it is only 2 bedrooms. Situation of the house for me is not quite right. The water tower, whether I can sit in my garden and walk around and actually accept that, I am not sure.
What I like about the house is that beautiful extension and how it opens up onto a patio area and to the garden, and then you just sweep round and you can see the paddocks and the horses. It's wonderful to wake up in the morning, go outside with your coffee and just see them there. It's something I've never had and it's always been my dream.
Still sunshiny. That's your lot for today.
Well,
Lots to think about.
Yes, very much so.
Let's go and regroup.
Right.
As evening falls over the Suffolk skyline, it marks the end of the first day of our property search. Alan and Anne from Shenfield, Essex have £700,000 to make their move to rural Suffolk, where they want to develop a holiday-let business for horse lovers. We're 2 properties down with just our mystery house to go. And if they can keep an open mind, it could give them more than they ever imagined.
This is a very different kitchen, isn't it?
Very different.
And I get drawn into travelling in traditional Suffolk style.
I thought we'd really found their dream home with the second one yesterday, but there were lots of things that Alan didn't like about it, which is fine because we've got the mystery house. Now, typically with the mystery house, we take something away from the wish list, and in this instance, we've taken away period. We can't get them everything that they want, so we're not giving them any beams, no thatch, no twisty Tudor floors, but we're giving them something big and modern, and lots of land. Now, the mystery house is, you know, it's often a curveball. What do you think we might be showing you?
I think you're going to show us something which was one of the options that we spoke about, not necessarily having equestrian facilities on site, but maybe some close by.
Well, we should see. We should see.
Our mystery house is situated a couple of miles from the village of Mildenhall, whose 16th century market cross is the focal point of its historic centre, home to an array of local shops. There are 2 RAF bases in the outlying area, which is where our mystery house is located. And if they're prepared to be flexible, this house might well provide the home that Anne wants for her beloved horses.
So, a very different proposal.
Yes.
As the mystery house always is. Lots of space and lots of potential. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, really.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
We're quite close to, there's an Air Force base, not far away, so there's a bit of aircraft noise. First impressions?
First impression, yes, I don't mind looking at modern property. The only small problem would be just the sound of the aircraft passing
Because you're
by.
quite noise sensitive.
I am a very noise-sensitive individual.
Let's have a look inside.
Perhaps when they explore inside our mystery property, which is built in a chalet style, they'll be more convinced.
In you come.
Thank you.
Right, okay.
So it's got a big central hall. We've got a sort of downstairs room which is used as a bedroom.
Yeah.
And then there's a study sort of sitting room at the front here. What are your thoughts about the interior? Because it's quite different from what we've showed you before.
I quite like a nice hallway. It's something that I've always thought makes a house.
Let's have a look in the kitchen.
Thank you. Oh, this is a very different kitchen, isn't it?
Very different.
Yeah, very different.
It's big. I think it's probably the biggest in terms of square footage.
Oh, most certainly is, yes. Yeah, a very nice kitchen.
I like it. I actually like the square units.
It used to be a gamekeeper's cottage.
Yes.
And it's been extended a lot in the 22 years they've been here. You've got a very big utility room and downstairs loo all through here. So the finish has been, it's sort of changed. You know, some bits are older and some bits are more modern.
Yeah.
Ticks, nods.
I like the kitchen. I really do.
Hopefully they'll also like the spacious dining room and sitting area next door.
More of the same. This is the extension. Again, put on a few years ago. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
I like the sort of split level.
Do like the fireplace.
Yeah, and I can imagine you having some good parties here
Oh, wow.
on a summer's day.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Good, well, I'm glad that you're liking it, because it is, you know, it was a bit of a gamble bringing you here, because it's so different from the other ones.
Yes, yes.
Now, the last property sort of stumbled on the fact that it really only had 2 bedrooms, smallish
Yes.
bedrooms upstairs. This one's not going to stumble on that.
Right.
Okay.
Along with the bedroom downstairs, there are 3 upstairs, including a generous option for guests.
here we go. Couldn't be more different from the bedroom yesterday afternoon.
No, not.
Straight lines everywhere.
It really works.
Yeah, it does. Very nice.
Another great thing about this house, it's got loads of storage, cupboards everywhere.
Yeah.
So storage on the hall, storage here. And then, what would be your room? Oof, the grand room.
Ooh, yeah. It is grand.
Yes.
The master has a bright, spacious ensuite. There's also a third bedroom large enough to be a double. Off the landing, there's a nice-sized family bathroom, which Alan might want to apply a little updating magic to. But Anne's chomping at the bit to know more about the outside.
Now, I have a personal vendetta against this plant.
Yes.
So I would cut all this down because, look, what you're missing. The view of your paddock. So all this fenced area is yours. Beyond that, there's Farmer's Field and then lots and lots of Forestry Commission land, so lots of nice riding out.
OK.
Yeah.
How big is this paddock?
This paddock is about 1 acre, but we've got so much land to show you here. This property comes with 13 acres of land.
Dear.
And out of those 13 acres, hopefully Alan will like the little pocket we've saved for him.
All of this fenced area is yours.
Yeah.
But I know that you're a big fan of trees, Alan.
Yes.
It includes 4 acres of woodland.
Well, I never did. All right.
So your very own little forest.
Yeah. Well, I never did.
So how much do you think this is on the market for?
Well, I've got it wrong other times by large, so I would say, dear, 640.
What do you think?
I think it's probably a bit less than that, at £620,000.
Well, the price is just between the two of yours, so it's actually on at £650,000.
Yeah.
So that gives you £50,000 in your pot to do quite a lot of work, but also you've got lots of scope.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like you actually to both go and look at the woodland,
OK,
Yes.
and then we'll meet you back at the house.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Let's go.
Trot on. Phew, that was a relief because I wasn't at all sure they were going to like that property, but they seem to warm to it, and they really seem quite excited by the possibilities of all this land. Told you so.
Under budget at £650,000, the gamble of our modern mystery house may have paid off, as it provides them with a large sitting dining room, a stylish kitchen diner, and 4 potential bedrooms. Outside, there's a timber barn which they could potentially convert into a holiday let. But best of all, Anne gets a jaw-dropping 13 acres, which fulfills her equestrian dreams.
What do you think with regards to doing something with woodland, putting up jumps or whatever, making it a course for the horses?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a possibility.
I think the house is very nice. It's a bit, say, newer than we were originally looking for. Internally, I think it's fine. Outside, again, aesthetically, it looks very, very good.
I think if I had a plan of the property, I could then start marking out areas where, you know, potential for a stable block, all things like that is quite exciting, and I've never been able to do that before. So, yeah, quite a challenge.
All done inside the mystery house?
Yeah,
Lots of thoughts,
certainly have.
Loads of thoughts.
cogitations, lots of plans,
Yes.
lots of lists for you.
Oh, yeah, awful amount of lists.
Let's go and have some tea and think about them.
OK.
Suffolk still appreciates the slower pace of life, and the tradition of horse driving across this county's flat terrain is still celebrated by some locals. The art of decorating these vintage horse-drawn vehicles is being kept alive in the village of Monk Soham, which restorer Chris Hill has called home for nearly 40 years.
Chris, it's like a feast for the eyes.
Yes, it's very Victorian and Victorian Gothic. Funny thing is, when I was moving out of London and moving somewhere like this, I happened to pick the best place in England to come to because there was still hanging on this great interest in driving and horse and carts. And 35, 40 years ago, you'd go to the pub, and out of, say, 24 people in that pub, there'd be at least a dozen who were driving people.
Right.
And so,
that is particular to this area?
Very much so. For some reason, it's just hung on.
And the painted carts, is that a thing that you just encourage people to have done?
No, I mean, when carts were made years ago, that's how they were decorated.
But then you get quite a lot more voltage when you come to the Romany.
Oh yes,
carts.
yes, you can go to town a bit more.
Hugely popular during the Victorian era, gypsy caravans fell out of fashion as people turned to petrol engine carriages. As a result, many of the caravans fell into disrepair. Chris has used his skilled hand to revitalise this unique form of transport and has generously offered to give me an insight into the tricks of the trade.
So start small.
Yes,
Press on.
and twiddle it round like, that's it, you've got the twiddle going. That's excellent. Look at that. Oh, wonderful.
That's beautiful. It's not quite as elegant as yours.
No, but I mean, for first attempt, you're doing the right things.
How long would it take you to do a whole panel, say?
Well, I suppose if we took the whole of this side of the door, not including applying the gold leaf, but the actual time taken to scroll it, you're probably talking about 3/4 of an hour.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're speedy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually a very important part of the job. The quicker you go, the more alive it looks, and the more flowing it looks. It's got to be free and relaxed.
And
it's got to be fun.
I need to relax a bit, clearly.
Well, yes. First time, it's quite tense, I would imagine.
After
you've done a few dozen, you'd be flying.
Thank you so much.
OK, you're welcome.
It's fascinating that in these quiet Suffolk villages there are local champions who are still so passionate about keeping age-old traditions alive.
Well, Anne and Alan have really put us through our paces today. It's like property 3-day eventing with all the hoops we've had to jump through to please them. But I think we've done pretty well. We've shown them 3 really interesting options for what they want. So now's the moment of truth to find out which one they're going to go for. I've really enjoyed showing you 2 around because you had a challenging brief. It was a really unique thing, the horses and the holiday let. Obviously, a headache, but, you know, I think we found some properties that fitted the brief. The first property, if you can spin back your minds that far, it was a beautiful location. You particularly were, you know, in love with the little church and the trees.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
What are your thoughts about that one now?
That is one property that I think we particularly want to go back and see.
What about the second house?
I quite like the property, but I know Alan has his quite sort of fixed ideas what he likes and what he doesn't like. The water tower, it irritated you that it was there.
If one did actually move to that property, OK, as far as the land goes, and the house itself was quaint and nice, that would be one thing that would interfere with my thoughts every time I walked outside the property.
Well, you've got to live there, it's important. Now, the mystery house, that was a quite different property.
Yeah.
Threw up lots of thoughts.
Well, Alan and I have discussed it. I liked the house, even though it was a modern house, and I think Alan did as well, didn't you?
No, it was fine, yes.
Yeah. But I'm not quite sure whether the location of the property would lend itself for holiday letting.
Also, one would have to do soil tests on the land to make sure that it would be good enough to grow grass.
So lots of question marks. Too many?
Bordering on, I think so, but as I said, I think before, that the place did warm to me as we were leaving.
Well, you're both being very level-headed. You sounded like you might go back and visit the mystery house again. Is there any other one that you would go back and visit?
Yeah, I think we'd like to go back and have a look in the area of the first house. You really did like the area, didn't you?
I liked the area.
And you liked the house.
Great, so number 1 seems like it's the front runner.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Definitely.
Excellent. Well, it's been a real adventure kind of going through these properties with you, because you've both got very different perspectives on what you're looking for, horses and the building side of things. But it's been very enlightening to see how you think about the properties in each turn. There's been some surprises along the way as well. So I really hope that one of them comes up trumps, or if not, one of our properties somewhere in Suffolk, because it would be great.
Thank you.
And when I get my horse, which I may never do, I shall definitely bring it to your B&B.
Well, you can always come at any time. More than welcome.
It's very kind. Thanks very much.
Well, it's a wonderful time you've had.
Thank you.
The one thing I've learnt on this show is that you can never predict which of your beautiful properties are going to wow the buyers. And we on the Escape team were convinced that house number 2 was going to wipe all the others out of the water, but Anne and Alan had other plans, and good for them. That's the point of the show. We're constantly surprised. And if you'd like to be surprised next time, somewhere in Britain, then make sure you tune in to Escape to the Country. Today I'm in a county famed for some of the biggest working beasts in Britain. Where am I? Find out in just a moment.
In today's show, I'll be helping a horse-loving couple break free from their city ties and canter off to the country to fulfil their business ambitions.
This is my dream.
And maybe they've bitten off more than they can chew with our mystery house.
Oh, I'm a bit speechless.
Welcome to Suffolk, and these 3 burly beasts stand guard to the busy entrance of Trinity Park, home to the famous Suffolk show, celebrating everything that's great about this agricultural county. And these 3 chaps are icons of that farming heritage. You've got the Suffolk sheep, the red poll bull, yes, he's a bull, and the famous Suffolk Punch Shire horse. But this county's not just about farming. Take a look at what else it's famous for. Just to give you a rough ballpark idea of prices in Suffolk, the average price for a detached house was £245,000 back at the beginning of 2011. Now that's £10,000 less than the average for England and Wales, but there are some super expensive hotspots in this county. If you look along the heritage coast from Lowestoft in the north all the way down to Felixstowe, £1.52 million for a property, but in between there's lots on offer, so take a look.
For £295,000, you could buy this 5-bedroom, Grade 2 listed property situated in Eye. Its modern kitchen maintains a period feel, with exposed beams supporting the ceiling. There's also a charming, secluded courtyard. Or there's this 4-bedroom Suffolk Pink farmhouse in Wiverston, priced at £600,000. The main reception room has a feature fireplace to keep you warm, and outside there's a handsome traditional hay store and stables. It's all set in around 2 acres of grounds. For a bigger budget of £895,000, this stunning 4-bedroom barn conversion in Tostock might well suit. The rustic stonework and high ceilings are offset by the stylish fittings, which give it a palatial feel. And the walled garden outside is a real highlight.
A fine selection of Suffolk lovelies there, but what kind of property are our house buyers today looking for? Well, why don't you meet them and find out.
This is Anne, who recently retired from her job as a communications manager, and Alan, a builder. They currently live in Shenfield, Essex, in a 4-bedroom property which Alan has completely renovated over the years. However, the time has come for them to fulfil an ambition they've shared for a long time.
We've always wanted to live in the country, and even as a small child I spent a lot of time with my grandparents' place. They had a small holding and I was always with the chickens and the pigs, but I'd never had a horse, so I always wanted one. Used to go and feed them on the common. Alan's always wanted to move to the countryside, haven't you?
Always loved the countryside, yeah. Just one of those things, I suppose, to reach a dream that I've never got to as yet.
Anne owns a horse which she keeps at a livery yard some 15 minutes from their home. With this move, she's keen to turn her passion for horses into a rural business opportunity.
This is Archie. He originally comes from Suffolk, and it would be really nice if we could take him back to Suffolk, where we want to run holiday lets where people can bring their own horses to ride.
What's more, Alan wants space for a vegetable plot and to grow hops. They've been scouring the Suffolk property market for the past 18 months. However, so far their house searching efforts have come up short. Then again, there's a lot to factor in.
Would want something